Hello, everybody. I'd just like to welcome you to our first business little meet. It's a cup of tea tune-up time with myself and the Right Honourable David Lee, who I've met for a number of years back, and we sort of become good friends. We sort of knock around and chew the cud every now and again. And what we thought was, well, let's just get together, put something down, and just put it out there to see what we can do to improve what other people are doing, and maybe get them to look at things in a different way. So here's Dave, if you'd like to tell us about yourself, Dave.
Well, we've known each other for a few years, Danny, and we thought we'd develop this site on Facebook, Your Business Post, to just throw a few ideas up, get people thinking, and then introduce ourselves. And well, sometimes what we say is we'll get people thinking. We just see the world a little bit differently. And if we're in a business world, I think it's essential that we do look at the world from different angles, different viewpoints, and quite often not even the way that we think. And that's the way we learn, see how people think differently, act differently, respond differently, because the last thing that we want to do is to do like everybody else, because we know that is not a formula for success. So one thing I've noticed about you, Danny, is that you are willing and able to take on new ideas and concepts, and you do embrace them. So I think that's why we click together, you and me. You're up in the north, I'm down here in London. So let's just say hello to the people, and let's give a bit of food for thought, because we have been talking about what's going on in the world, the economy, plus the general election that's gone by. And we just want to talk about a few things that people can think over and just assess for themselves what they've got to do next. So what questions have you got that we can talk about, Danny? I think you've got a list of things there.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching a video the other day with Robert Kiyosaki, and I've been following Harry Dent as well. Who's a world-renowned economist. Robert Kiyosaki, if people don't know him, he was the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So pretty much, whether you agree with him or don't agree with him, he's very well connected. And what you do, if you have a look at these people, they're sort of like giving you calls and giving you ideas where the environment may go. But if there's only a small percentage of those who are right, or those philosophies or theories that are right, you should be very concerned. So, I mean, what is your take on Robert Kiyosaki and Harry Dent, David?
Well, what I believe, and I've followed them for many years, for example, Harry Dent I've followed since 1993, Robert Kiyosaki since the late 90s, and I believe it is that we are responsible for ourselves, Danny. You're responsible for your own well-being, and it is up to us to gather in as much information as we possibly can to make the best possible decisions. Now, people will just label somebody good or bad, or somebody they want to label somebody, and it's not good enough. Robert Kiyosaki mentioned what he does with his financial literacy will be completely different, and wouldn't recommend it to anybody else who's, for example, maybe a hairdresser, maybe a plumber, maybe somebody who works in an office. He wouldn't recommend it. It depends on your level of financial literacy. And that's why he has always said it goes back to the individual. So what's right for you, Danny, may not be what's right for me. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, I'm working properly as you know. I mean, I started off as electrical engineering and basically went to university, studied business at a high level, and I moved into property gradually. And what I see, certainly down in the UK, is that markets are very, very much different in the London area as to where I am based up in the northeast. So my strategies are completely different to those which somebody would find in the London area. However, I'm looking at things that's what might be happening in the future. I've got to be able to protect myself with the likes of interest rates, and indeed what happens if the property drops in value. How am I going to finance out of it if I'm not getting the rental value? So all those sort of things that I've got to take into to consideration. I mean, how you're based in the London area. Dave. How do you see the market down there?
Well, the market is completely different. The central London market is 70% or more made up of foreign investors. And so it is overactive. And I've shown charts, made people very much aware that just like the property market in 2008, where everybody said that the property market was only going to go in one direction. This was before April 2008. And what direction was that going, Danny?
Well, it's going up.
It was all going up. And so it's been going up for several years. You see, we had the crash in 2008, and what's happened is, just as I knew, that the governments, the central banks have stimulated the economy, and it's been to the benefit of the well-to-do, the rich have in fact got richer, and the financial institutions which created this mess have actually benefited. So you see that a lot of the stimulus has had a direct influence on the well-to-do in the economy, the bankers, the financial people, and the foreign capital that's coming in. And so it's gone up and up and up. And now people will say that it's going to keep going up. But what we know is, and what everybody said, what goes up must come down. And what if I've shown people the stock markets, for example, this S&P, the Dow Jones, I've also shown the FTSE 100. You don't have to be an economist. You don't have to know all this stuff to see that these have trended upwards for the last 5 years, Danny. And what goes up must come down. And when stock markets go down, they come down very quickly. We would like to think that things happen in a linear fashion. Do you understand that? I mean that it goes up and we can base next year based on last year, add a couple of percent. It doesn't work like that. It's exponential. And so when it goes up, it can go up very dramatically, like it has done over the last 5 years. But when it goes down, it doesn't happen in a linear or a gradual process. It is very volatile. What I'm saying is, be very aware of this. Now, you've said a few things that I do not hear from people in your area, Danny, that are in property. You said that you are looking to the future. You've got to say, what if interest rates go up? What if there's a change? You've got to be preparing an exit strategy in case. You are very, very unique in that regard, because many people are just trying to put a transaction together, whether it is viable in the short or long term for the sake of doing a transaction. As you understand, this is a business. What we are doing in business and the decisions we make should be based on looking into the future and not the past.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with when I started doing property, and especially creatively, much the same as what the systems and processes put together between yourself and Rick Horton. But the long and short of it is, I got to look, and I have been, even from when I started doing it, thinking, well, I've got to use a long-term strategy, because things are very, very different in the Northeast. And you are exactly right in what you're saying, and I firmly believe in that, is that when people lose confidence in the market, they lose it very, very quickly. It's a bit like a partner cheating on you. It's it's like, you can't go back. That's it. Get out. Get out. You can't.
What I understood, if people go and watch those videos from Harry Dent and Robert Kiyosaki, I understood that the markets are based on human behavior. It's based on, quite often, greed and fear, because the markets, the stock markets, the property markets are all based, it all goes back to human behavior. And when you see the market rising, when you see the last 5 years, that is based on greed. A lot of it's manipulated, it's created, it's a false economy. If you can see it, if you can see the symptoms, then you can work out, is this normal? Because I keep asking you, Danny, is this normal, what we're seeing at the moment in the world? And for me, it is not normal at all. To have interest rates so low for so long, to see property just go up in value based on nothing. Do you see productivity increasing in the UK? I don't. I don't see any productivity increases. Businesses are just barely keeping afloat, and this is a recovery. I really question that.
Yeah, I mean, why do you see that people don't seem to be listening or seem to be ignoring the warning signs?
People, Danny, as you know, we don't like to look at ourselves and assess ourselves. We want to feel as though we know and we're in control of our situation. But Danny, I'm going to ask you this question: what do you know about fine arts and paintings and theatre? What could you talk to me about that? Would you have anything that you could give me that would be instructive and informative on that?
I could do that. Well, put it this way: there's a number.
Just say no, Danny. It's simpler for this. Just say.
I don't know much, but there seems to be a whole lot of experts phoning me up and asking if I want to invest in it.
There are things going on in the world that we do not know about. There's the fine arts. There's different activities that are going on simultaneously that most people have absolutely no idea about. But when we talk about running our own business, it seems so by default that we know how to run a business because guess what? We've had a job. Well, the two are different. And my take on a lot of this is it goes back to group behavior, group mentality. We like to do like everybody else. We like to follow everybody else. But Danny, do you follow everybody else? Do you listen to the masses and do like everybody else? Or do you go and do things based on Danny Unthank's view of the world?
Well, put it this way, when I've actually seen what other people are doing and enslaving themselves to a 40-hour week for the next 40 years, I can't even think of anything worse in my life. So, I got out while it was good and was good. And, I worked for myself. So, no, I can't actually put my future in somebody else's hands because clearly that wasn't actually working before. So that's why I do what I do.
That's why we do what we do, Danny, because we are that type of character that we have to go out and do things on our own initiative. We need to be able to have a broad understanding, not just a finite view of the world, which is what I see in business. Property investors just see and speak to property people and they just look and feel like everybody else doing the same. And the minute they go out and do something that's a bit off tangent to everybody else, they feel uncomfortable. And yet we have to, Danny.
So just briefly, just to wrap this up, because I'm running out of time.
Yep, me too.
What would you suggest if people that are not involved in property, but people are listening to us first time, what would you actually be advising them to do, David?
I would say, Danny, and you've just watch those videos. Just go and have a look and just see that, okay, maybe there is a different view of the world. We do not have to agree with what people are saying, but don't shut people down point blank because it's based on your view of the world. As I said, that's why I asked you the question, what do you know about fine arts and ballet and all that? Quite probably nothing. You and we most likely do not have a view on other people's take on what's happening. And that is the best thing that I would suggest. See people outside of your environment and see how they're viewing the world, what they see differently and how they view things differently. That will get you to expand the bubble that we're in, the little environment, and to see it in a bigger perspective. So just go and have a look at some of those videos that we've made available. Go and keep in touch with us on Your Business Post. Go and like us on Your Business Post. Tell your friends. We'll show you things. And maybe Danny will even get some people to join us and have a conversation with some other people. Let's see what other people are doing out there. Let's work with each other in a community. Let's use Facebook for the benefit of us all. What do you think?
Well, certainly I think business is actually changing, the dynamics changing, something that we should have been actually doing from the outset. We're looking at businesses who are more identifying with their core values and looking to really how they can actually add value to the service or the product or anything like that to move themselves forward. I do think the economic climate is going to get a lot more difficult and tighter, so it's important for people to be more open into other avenues, and rather than actually just saying, oh, well, I bought this and I'm selling it out at that price and that's it. Business is fundamentally changing for the better. And it's important that people look at other avenues of how to actually, as I say, add value to the product or service.
So, Danny, let's go. We've spent 15 minutes. Coffee's over. Please give us a like on Your Business Post, and we'll speak to you next time. Thank you.
Catch you later, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Bye-bye.